The following episode of Dad vs. Daughter was made possible by a contribution from Ravensburger.
Notre Dame from Ravensburger is an action selection game where we are going to be placing influence throughout our borough. We're going to be traveling around to other people's boroughs, and we're going to be making donations to Notre Dame itself in order to get more influence. So I'm going to show you how the game is played, and then we're going to watch Dad and his friends play through a turn, and then we're going to tell you what we think. So check it out. Since you're going to be watching a 4-player turn, I've got this set up for 4 players. Based on player count, will determine which version of Notre Dame that you use in the middle. So in a 4-player, you can see that there are 4 meeples there to indicate that. You flip it over. If you have 2 players, you're going to use this side. Now, if you have 3 players, you use the triangle. And if you have all 5 players, you use the pentagon. But I'll go ahead and I'll put that square one back. And the rule book will show you exactly how you put the boards together. That is one negative that I'll have, and I'll talk about that in the review. But each of the player boards is what we call our borough. So we're going to have a black die, which represents our rat situation. And it goes from 0 all the way up to 9. Now, we don't really have to worry too much about it, but once it goes past 9, then we're going to be losing dudes off of the board, losing victory points, so we don't want that to happen. We will start with our carriage, and that is going to go in the middle of our borough. And we each have the same 4, what they call the messages. We're going to shuffle these up, and then we will randomly place these on the marketplaces on our player board. Now, the thing with this is any player can get these and get the bonuses. So, for instance, this one here is going to give 2 victory points and an influence token. So we've got one that just gives 4, whoops, got that backwards, 4 victory points. We've got one that gives a victory point and a coin and gives 3 victory points and gets to knock your rat gauge down by 1. So each player is going to start with 4 influence cubes, and then all the rest will form a supply that they can get influence tokens from later. We also each have our own trusted friend, and he's going to wander about the town at times based on card actions, and he'll allow us to carry out some actions. Plus, he also counts as an influence token. First player is also going to receive the bell ringer, or what we like to call him Quasimodo, or Quasi. And each player will also start with 3 money. Oops. There you go. And money is very, very tight in the game. So the game is only played over 9 rounds. We have 3 ages, I guess you could call them. We have A, we have B, and we have C. Now, what we're going to do to start is we're going to flip over, we'll shuffle all the A's up, and then we will flip one over, and we will place that next to the board. Then we also have 6 of the brown cards here, and what we're going to do is we're going to put, we'll shuffle these up, and then we're going to flip 2 of these. They cost 1 gold apiece, and they have various player abilities that they are going to grant, but you can only hire 1 at a time. Each player has a deck of cards in their own color, and there are 9 of these cards, and they all have the different symbols that are on their borough. So what they're going to do is they're going to shuffle this up. They are going to draw 3, and then they are going to look at those and figure out which one of these they want to keep, because the other 2 are going to get passed to the next player in clockwise order. So here you have the trusted friend gets to go and activate one of the places in your borough. Here we have an area where you're going to be able to go and get an extra influence. And here you can go to Notre Dame. You can give an offering of either 1, 2, or 3 money. And in return, you're going to get 1, 3, or 6 victory points. So that's a real nice thing to have. And I'll talk about how Notre Dame scores in a little bit. So let's just say out of these 3, I decided that I wanted to keep this one. So I put that face down in my hand, and then these 2 get passed to my neighbor to my left. Now, my neighbor to my right has done the same thing, and he is passing me 2 of his cards. So I look at these and say, oh, okay, which one of this do I want? Let's say that I want this card. So I would keep that in my hand, and then I would pass this to the player to my left. Once you have 3 cards, you are only going to decide to use 2 of those actions, and the third card you'll just kind of discard. So let's just say that I chose to do these 2. So on my turn, I'm going to be able to put one of my influence markers. Where's that spot? Here it is on the board. And then also for this one. But when this fires, I will get an influence token back. When I place a cube on the hotel, there's the hotel at, right here. Then I get my option. I can either get an influence token, I can get 1 money, or I can decrease my rat population. Now the special thing about this one is if I have 3 or more influence tokens on this, I get to do any 2 of these. So I could get an influence token and a money, or a money and take my rat population down, and so forth. So let's talk about the other things that are in our borough. We have a bank, and the bank obviously will give you money. We have our park around this way. So the park allows us to cancel 1 rat, and for every 2 influence cubes on here, we're going to get 1 victory point. This just grants victory points based on the number of influence we have. There's the hotel that I already talked about. Here is the hospital. Now the hospital is always one of the most popular places to put influence, because every time you put an influence token there, that's going to cancel 1. You're going to be able to move down on your rat meter. And then when it's time to determine the plague status, and I'll talk about that in just a second, every cube that you have here, every influence cube, you're going to subtract that from whatever the rat total is, and you're either going to be moving your rat marker up or down. And then finally we have the carriage house, and this is how you move your little carriage around. So if I just have 1 cube here, I get to move my carriage along the roads to marketplaces. Now, if I travel along a road and there's no marketplace there, then I can just keep moving. But however, you'll notice here's an empty marketplace. If I only could move 1, I would stop there. However, if I moved here, then I would be able to take that token. Now, the taking of the messages is a little interesting, because you can only take a message from a color that you don't already have a complete set for. So I hope I said that right. So essentially, I can't take another green until I have 1 of all the other colors that are on the board. I mentioned the plague earlier. So how we determine the plague is based on the cards that have rats on them that come up for us to hire. We'll notice down here at the bottom, they may or may not have rats. So in this case, we have 2, nothing there, and another 2. So our plague value is going to be 4. So let's just say that we did not have any influence markers in the hospital, and this was the first round. I would move my marker 4 to represent all the rats that I didn't take care of. Let's say that I had, for instance, 2 in my hospital, then I would only take 2 rats. Now, if I ever have more than what the plague value is, my marker actually gets to go down. At the end of the round, the lettered cards are going to be discarded, and these 2 will go into a discard pile, because with there only being 6, we will go through all 6 of those for each of the ages, because there are 3 of each letter. Let's talk about how the Notre Dame action works. Now, whenever you take this action, you place an influence marker here, you're going to either pay 1, 2, or 3 coins, and if you do, you're going to get 1, 3, or 6 prestige points. Then at the end of the round, when you play the 3 cards, based again on which version of Notre Dame you're using, you're going to see what the total points are. So in this case, it's going to be 12. You are going to divide that number by the number of influence cubes here, and then each cube will get that many points. Now that I've kind of given you an overview on how the game is played, let's watch Dad and his friends play through a round, and I think a lot of this will make a lot more sense. We are in round B, which is really the 4th round of the game. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw 3 cards off of the top of our deck. We're going to choose one, and then we are going to pass to the next player to our left. However, we have house ruled, since the rules say you're always going to pass to your left. We thought it'd be better to every other round pass the other direction. So we are actually going to be passing right. Kind of think Seven Wonders style. So we're going to look at the 3 cards that we have, and we're going to choose which one we want to do and put them right side up here. So I'm going to keep this one. And then I'm going to pass these, like I said, to the right, and that's a house rule. So now I'm looking at the 2 cards that were passed to me. Oops.
There you go. Oh, these are my cards.
Oh, those are good.
I'll keep this one.
Oh, I have to take that one. Thanks. Oh man, it's wrong. Bless you, sir. Bless you. Did you?
My last card that you're passing. Ooh. That card. Yeah, I got some choices to make.
You're up, sir.
So, first player has the bell ringer token. So they're going to pick which one of their cards they would like to play first.
I need to go to the bank. So, put one of my influence here. Since I already have one on there, I will be taking 2 coins. Uh-oh, mistakes were made.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, I'm going to go to the park. Don't
So
have
you
any
got to
cubes.
move one of those then.
I'll move this guy here, and I go down a rat immediately. That's it.
All right. I will play
I was thinking this.
my hospital,
Oh yeah, let's see.
and I will actually go down 3 rats.
Nope. It's one.
No, it's just one rat.
Oh.
One rat
Oops.
period, but you are protected from that.
Well, you
From
subtract
those.
3 from that, 5 minus 3, and you'll get 2 at the end of the round.
Still-
2. I'm going to go to the pack. I'm going to take one from here to go to the pack times 2. Is that correct? One rat,
No,
down
you
one
just,
rat?
you just go down one
rat?
period, however many are there.
Okay.
But now, for the rest of the game, since you have 2 here, you're getting +1 prestige whenever you gain prestige. And I am heading back to the bank. My last one there, and I'll be gaining 3 coins. Oh yeah, look at that. Scrooge McDuck over here.
I did this all wrong. Yay!
We say that a lot in my game group.
Well, I thought I was doing hospital, and I was doing park.
Because one would be a big building with a bunch of sick people. The other one would be a big open space with probably a
Yeah.
bunch of sick
Healthy
people.
people.
Yeah.
You need a coin to hire, so.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be hurting this round. Do I want? Because if I hire, I can hire the lady to give me 1 less rat.
True.
Which
And 3
lady
points.
gives you?
But
Oh, that
maybe-
lady.
3 points, yeah.
But I'm still gonna hit the. I'm gonna get the plague penalty regardless of what I do.
Well, another thing you
So-
could do, you could hire this guy, and you can move all your guys over, and you can move 3 guys up into here, subtracting
yeah.
3 from that. So,
That's it. Thank you very much. And I can move this guy out of there, right? I can't.
yep.
That was the last turn. All right, and I get a coin. That's a very good point.
Right.
But they have to come from
Unfortunately, I
board.
can't do the one I wanted to do
one
uh,
location, or
because I'm not going to have any
I think it's just one.
money to do with other things I want to do. So I'm going to play this one, and I will take from here and put over to here. And I get 2 workers back, correct? Because my trusted friend is there.
Correct.
I can
And then
play
that
this a
3rd
couple
card
different
is just going to
ways.
get discarded.
But I think if I throw that down, move this guy to here, that's ×2. I can get rid of 2 rats. Correct? ×2.
If you have 3 or more cubes in here, you get to do this action twice. Unfortunately, you only have 2, so you still
so
get
it's
to do
gonna be
it
3.
once.
It's okay.
You
Just
still,
one
you
time.
still want to.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to put me right at the limit.
Yeah, but at least you won't take the minus,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And I could hire for get a gold, and it'd be 1 less. It
Ah,
comes out the same.
Yeah. Do you, oh.
It comes out the same.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. Okay. That's it for cards.
So now we move on to the hiring of the people.
Okay, so I am.
You can only hire one at a time. So just to reiterate what these do, if you hire the beggar, he is going to give you prestige points for every spot that you have above 9. The barmaid or hostess, I think hostess with the mostest, she's going to give you 3 victory points regardless, but then you could choose to either get a coin, get an extra worker, or go down on the rat track. And the minstrel is going to allow you to move up to 3 cubes from one burrow to another one.
So I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 coin to hire the minstrel, which will allow me to take 3 from one to another. So I'm going to take 3 from the bank and put them over here in the hospital.
And I will be hiring the minstrel as well. And I'll move these 3 guys to the hospital.
All right. I will hire the beggar, and I will get 4 victory points.
I have no money, so I cannot hire anyone.
All right.
You too shall pass.
So that is the end of this round, and so
Nope, we gotta do the rest.
Oh, we
Plague-
do have the
plague's
plagues. I'm
coming.
sorry, we do have the plagues. So we look at the bottom of the cards here. We've got 5 rats total. So I will actually avoid 2 of the rats, or 3 of the rats, and I will take 2 on my rat track.
I, on the other hand, am going to take the full wrath
Of the rats.
of the rats.
Because moving my tokens over here to the hospital, I will only be taking 1, putting me right at 9.
And I will gain 2.
So that is the end of the round. After we had to deal with the rats. So now that you've watched Dad and his buddies play through the game, I hope that gave you a really good feel for how the game flows. Let's get to what we think. I will admit that I've not played this game as much as other games that I have, but this is a real solid game. It's actually a lot of fun. It can be a little cutthroat because as you're moving your carriage around, you could be gobbling up, or the other players could be gobbling up your messages, so that would prevent you from getting those bonuses. And sometimes it's hard to travel. Now, one of the other things I didn't talk about is if, for instance, you run out of influence tokens in your personal supply and you have no way of getting them from your general supply, you can actually move them when you play that card over to the other spot. The gameplay is, like I said, fairly easy. I like the drafting aspect of the cards. You have to be really cognizant of what the other players are trying to go for, so that you don't feed them the cards that are going to help them if you can figure out what their strategy is. But it plays super fast. There's not really a lot of downtime because you are passing the cards around. One of the negatives that I had, the rule book doesn't say anything about changing the direction of how you pass the cards. So what we've done is kind of house ruled that during the A time period, we pass clockwise. During the B time period, we pass counterclockwise. That way you're not always passing or getting passed from the same player. And then in era C, we're passing back clockwise. So we kind of adopt that 7 Wonders style. I think the art is okay. There's nothing really that sticks out on it. It's serviceable. The art on the player cards, I think, is better because you can see that there's pretty good detail on all of these people. And the iconography can be a little tough, but there's a glossary in the rule book that tells you what each of those does, so that's not too bad. The components are all wood. Those are nice. As far as the blocks, the carriage, and your trusted friend go, the cardboard tokens are a little on the thin side. I wish those would have been a little bulkier maybe. And then my big negative is these player boards, because they will slide all around. They don't stay in one place very well at all. And I understand that. It's because it's the modular concept based on the player count. But our boards usually end up looking something like this. No big deal. But that's just kind of a minor quibble. Other than that, I think everybody that has played this with me has really enjoyed it. This is the 10th anniversary, so the game is popular. I know a lot of people really like it. I'm looking forward to getting more plays of it myself. That is Notre Dame, the 10th anniversary edition. Like I said, I do recommend this. The game's been a lot of fun. It's pretty easy to pick up. I like the card drafting and the fact that the game plays fast. So we will catch you guys next time.
If you would like to support us, you can visit patreon.com/dadvdaughter.
Like and follow us on Facebook to stay current on our show schedule, sneak peeks at future shows, and to interact with us.